Hey, what's going on, YouTube? All right, so this is that O2ZR, Arctic Cat ZR 800 Cross Country Edition. This is the one that's got the bad heat exchanger on it. That's what we're looking at. It's a mess. And this is what happens when you have studs on your track and you don't tighten your track enough. The reason that it hits like that, it's not because the studs are too long, but it's because they jump over. Let's see here. I can actually show you. Okay, so these tabs, they're like teeth right here. Those guide the track on the wheels, and this right here is in between the rail slides. And then you also have these spaces in between, and you have the teeth on the drive axle of the snowmobile. And so each one of those tabs goes in between here. Well, when you don't have the track tight enough, those tabs will hop over this. So when this is spinning, the track tries to spin, but those studs are grabbing so hard that if you don't have the track tight enough, they'll just hop over these. And it goes bop, 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 bop. I mean, it's loud. It's like brrr. I mean, if you nail it, especially with an 800 or, you know, I mean, even a 580, it'll do it with, you know, with worn out cogs. So it was doing that. And when it hops over like that, it gets pushed out far enough to where the studs hit that. So the previous owner ended up obviously not tightening the track enough, and that happened, and then used JB Weld and just caked it in there. And clearly he didn't clean it and rough it up enough, because I'm a firm believer in JB Weld as being a very good epoxy resin type fixing method if it's done right. But this clearly wasn't done right. I mean, it was leaking from here, and I think here still, and that's what did the rest of the damage. So it leaked, the engine got hot, and what it did is it ended up cooking the inner ring, the inner coolant ring on the head, for the head that seals the head down on the cylinder. And it ended up cooking that ring enough to where when he put coolant back in it and ran it, it got coolant into the cylinder and just fried the cylinder. So first things first, that's coming out, and I have another one to put in there. And kind of a similar thing happened to this one. And this was off of a 2004 ZR 900, and it was patched there, and it was a big clump, so I just turned it back into, you know, more of a radiator heatsink fin, and I'm just going to go with this. But I cut this one out in the same manner. I'm going to have to clean it all up before I put it back in and weld it back in. But that'll go in right there. It's going to go in place. So I got to pop this out now. And sorry about that. Once I pop that out, I'll clean up all the welds there, or the spots where the old welds, clean those off, and then prep the metal for new welds, and hopefully get this thing welded in properly. It also blew a belt. I found a bunch of chunks of metal. Actually, they're right here. Bunch of pieces of belt, and then a bunch of chunks of metal. Had to be from a clutch. The only thing I can think of. Unless it was, I don't know, maybe it has to be. I mean, it seems like it's thin enough to where it's, I mean, it almost seems like it's thin enough to be a piston skirt or something. But either way, found a bunch of that in there. That belt definitely blew. Chewed this all up, so I'm going to have to pound that back out, pound this out, and then Don't have to worry about painting this because it's all aluminum. I actually started to polish it up a little. And I just used some Blue Magic. It doesn't look the best, but you know, you can definitely see there's a difference. So I might continue to do that. I don't know. Maybe I just hit the top surface and take that off at the front. And then once I take the suspension off, maybe hit in there, the sides and stuff. Nothing special. So, but yep, that's it. Just wanted to show some progress on the 800. And once I get to the point to where I got all the parts to rebuild the engine, which is over here. And yes, things are still tight in here, but at least I got pathways and things are a little organized. Here is the jack shaft. I mean, this 800's got some problems, but nothing I can't take care of. This is the secondary clutch. It's fused, obviously by rust, to the jack shaft. And so you have the driven clutch, the drive clutch on the engine comes off here, wrapping a belt around this is the secondary clutch. That drives the jack shaft, which goes down. It's got the brake disc on it, and then that goes down into this sticks into the chain case, and then it's got a small gear on top. Chain goes down to a bigger gear, and then that goes down under there. This is where the chain case is. The brake caliper, the disc, the jack shaft, and then into the chain case, and then the drive axle sticks from in the tunnel to the outside of the tunnel into the chain case right there. And that's the chain case cover, and that's the chain case right there. So that's the bottom, that's the top. So the jack shaft comes through there. The disc brakes on the other side of that. Small sprocket on top, big sprocket on bottom, chain wraps around it, and then that drives the track. The track's got the skid that it, you know, wraps around. The skid is up under the tunnel with 4 bolts. Really cool machine. So progress, progress, progress. It's all on how much vision you got. I mean, obviously there's another little dent that needs to be fixed. Yeah, this thing was abused for sure. I finally got the choke plunger out of the carburetor. What was that? The mag side carburetor. It was stuck in there, and I ended up just taking the plunger and see how it's got the ball. Well, the area for the ball, which that little piece goes down into. So what I ended up doing, I let it sit for a couple days with PB Blaster, and I got it cleared out only down to the bottom of the ball. And so I just ended up working those 2 retaining pieces back and forth and just broke them off, pulled the choke cable out, and then I just drilled it out. And I got probably 3/4 of the way down into it. It's kind of hard to see in there, and it came out with the drill, the power of the drill. It just caught enough to where it worked it loose, and yeah, came out. And so I cleaned up the inside of the carb, and they're right there. And yeah, just I'll have to get a new plunger itself. And my buddy lives in Hart, Michigan. His name's Keith Loudermilk at West Michigan Snowmobile Parts. So if you need anything from him, or if you need any parts, go to him. He parts out like 100 sleds a year. So he's got tons of parts. So definitely go to him. Once again, it's Keith Loudermilk at West Michigan Snowmobiles. So, all right, that's about it for now. I'll try and get some more progress video of this sled, or once I make more progress. Probably after I get the front cooler out, and I have to push this down. Then it'll slide out a little easier, and then clean everything up, clean the new one up, put it all back in, and then I'll tack weld it and put it all back together, and then from that point, I'll probably start in on the clutch over there, because that needed to come out. But other than that, yeah, pretty much just putting it all back together. I don't know how far I'm going to go as far as powder coating stuff. I guess it depends on time frame of parts delivery, because I mean, if I focus, I can bang out quite a few powder coating parts. And there's not a ton. I mean, I could fit things like the sway bar. As long as the sway bar goes from here to that side, I can get that up in there and just hang it on like a diagonal, you know, front to back and then top to bottom, and it'll fit in there. So yeah, so we'll see how far it goes, and either way, I'm sure it's going to be a fun sled, and you know, it's always a fun build. You know, I always love tearing this stuff apart and finding out what's the deal with it, and putting it all back together. And that first fire up is, you know, pretty much what it's all worth. The first fire up and the first ride. So all right, guys, thanks a lot. And you know, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Click the bell, the alert bell. You get notifications for new videos. And share the video, comment on all my videos. You know, I got a bunch of them up on my channel, so feel free to go ahead and check them out. I actually made a snowmobile playlist, so you could just go on, click on my videos, and then go right to the playlist and just watch all snowmobile videos, so you don't have to, you know, thumb through jet ski videos, tractor videos, and I got a bunch of fish videos up there because I breed wild caught African fish too. So, all right, thanks a lot, guys. God bless.